today. It's called Hit the Hoop. It should be in 5.1.
Yeah, go to Blackboard quick and go to course docs and links. It's called Will It Hit the Hoop? It's under 5.1. Is it there? Yeah, Will It Hit the Hoop under course docs and links.
Yep, right there.
We'll do the match my parabola in a little bit, but the first one is the Will It Hit the Hoop. I'll just close that window.
And then actually this one.
You can see everybody.
Okay.
So, watch it on the show there, so now you can do. Okay. If you want to view something, you don't want everybody to see everybody else's name, you can make it anonymous. See how it gives fake names.
Okay.
So you can toggle that on and off.
Okay.
And then you can see who's on what step. And then just you can click around here.
See what's away. Oh.
If you want to click just on step number 1, you can see what everybody put. Right?
Oh.
And then you can. So if you ever see anything like really interesting,
Yep.
you can always just take a snapshot of it. Like, ooh, I want to take a snapshot of that. Ooh, I want to take a snapshot of that. Right? And if you ever want to see just what the student is looking at, then this is what the individual student is looking at.
Okay.
The teacher is that. The summary is the grid. And then these are any snapshots that you're taking.
I got you.
So you can view. Yep. So that's what the student is looking at. So the whole idea here is, I think there's 7 shots. This is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to try to predict which ones go in and which ones don't go in.
You just want to bang this one out, or like stop at a certain.
No, I think you can keep moving. I think step what gives us the answer.
That's a ways down.
You shouldn't do. Keep going. I think.
It's not going to be.
It's going to show you the answer starting like on step 19.
Yeah.
So don't go all the way to 19. They'll go pretty fast, I think, you'll find, because most of them are just guessing.
What was our competition? See if someone can guess all 7 right?
Yeah, let's see how many of them you can get. So now it's like on shot 1. You can see shot 1. Here, look at that.
Split right down the
Half
middle.
and half. Yeah. Make it anonymous.
Can you bank it? Is that a thing?
No. Go straight in.
I don't know. There might be one that banks.
You might bank it.
Yeah, hey, it's up to you to figure it out. So that's in and out. So this is where you can remember the guesses on in and out are going to be like 50-50.
Yeah.
And when they actually do the math,
Yeah.
you'll probably find it more like
Yeah.
80-20, 90-10,
Yeah.
something like that. So just play around with this interface and just look at whatever you want. See what different people are doing.
You literally guess. You have 50-50 shot.
It's all analytical, man.
I tried to make one of these activities myself with me shooting the basketball.
Oh.
The only problem is that I never miss. So, so it wasn't very difficult. to figure out.
Yes, give it a crap on.
Scared the crap out of me. No swearing in school, too.
Yeah.
You're going to be a teacher?
Most of them are
That's
spread
too
out.
much attitude
Yeah.
for one day.
Well, they're very spread out.
Yeah. I'm letting that button get at the damn shot. Unless it's tough.
Oh, for a second, I thought those were the actual names. I was like, who's Maggie Jackson?
Yeah. That one's pretty nice, but that one's most people say out with that one. Most people say out with that one.
Is that one with the parabola? Even they could draw it.
Yep.
It's still
So that's shot one analyze. So there's shot one guess, shot one analyze.
and it's still split down the middle.
I think a lot of them haven't finished.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Most of them.
Yeah. Oh wow. Students and see this person.
Okay.
So this person was thinking bank shot because they put in. So then see now you can go to different students. Out. See now that's a weak effort, right?
Yeah.
Now you can actually do this, but it doesn't change on their screen. But like that, whoever. So I want to look at that person's. So I want. So then, if you wanted to, you could say, which one were we on? Number 12.
Yep.
Shot 2 analyze. You could go back. You could look at this. You might have been working on it as we did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. So go back there and say, let me look at your shot 2 analyze. Let me look at your shot 2 analyze.
Which one are you on right now? ET. Maybe you guys should come look at your shot 2 again.
Which one?
Shot 2. I think it was. Nope, a little further up than that. It's kind of where you got to make the graph too.
Are you talking about your original prediction?
This one. Yeah, that one. He said try to make it a little bit better if you can.
Wrong there, too.
A little bit better. What for you guys? Just finished? Okay. Pretty steady.
So the idea here is that we spent the last week or so on lines.
Yeah.
Now we're in chapter 5.
Yep.
Now we're doing quadratics. What's first degree polynomial? Now we're doing a second degree polynomial.
Yep.
So everything we're going to do for the next several days is all going to be based on quadratic instead of linear. And that's what they would have experienced way back in step 1.
That's the first question I'd ask.
When they said, here's a basketball, they do lines.
Yeah.
Obviously, the basketball's not going to go forever that way. So we're introducing a new kind of function. So what it does now is, an X means they didn't do a very good job of fitting it
Okay.
A dot means they did or they didn't submit their answer. So this person got a dot. So that they're saying is a good fit. Okay. But this person got an X. So they either didn't click on it or the computer doesn't think they did a good enough job of modeling it. It's just, it seems like it's fine to me. So I'm not sure why some are getting X's and some are getting dots.
That one seems fine.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, those either.
Okay, where is everybody? Is everybody towards the end?
There.
Zoom in.
Supposedly if they have just the lines. Oh, because those are just the videos, eh? Yep. We just watch and see what happens. Okay.
Yep. So the moral of the story is you have to guess without the benefit of math to help you. Then you get to guess math.
Yep.
And you get to see if that helps you make a better guess. And then you compare how many did you guess initially, right? How many did you guess? And hopefully you did better the second time around. So you can have that discussion. What we get.
That's what we're in the chat.
So here it is. This is the original and then the with math. So predictions, we averaged 3.5 correct, but with the parabolas we averaged about 5 correct. So, but this person was backwards. This person did better on the guess than they did on the parabola, which is backwards. That's the so like I could take like a snapshot of that, right?
Yeah.
See that? So I could take a snapshot of that and say something's weird there. But most people, their green dot, and they might not be completely done yet. Their green dot is higher on the second one, like this person got them all
I
correct.
feel like I'm losing brain cells right now.
So like Luke got them all correct.
Yep.
I'd say.
How do you know if you have them all correct with the green?
The green, so it looked like it was all the way to the top.
Okay.
It's like a dot plot. So let me see if I can find it. So you can 7. There was only 7 shots.
Oh, okay. I got you. Oh, okay. Both the guesses here, we got 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anyone get 7 guesses right?
I don't think so. Unless they went back and changed it.
Yeah.
Like they're not supposed to go back and change it. Okay. So like Emma might have gone back and changed it. I don't know. So now I can go to snapshots if I want it. And you could say this is typical.
Yeah.
This is not typical.
Yeah. So I get the green dots. What are the like?
That's the class average.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. That's so everybody's gray bars are
Okay.
the same.
I got you.
Yep. Because the class average is the same for everybody. Yep. Okay. And then are you prepared to talk about the go ahead and see
plus bf squared. That's standard general forms.
so right, but I mean what do these numbers mean? Approximately how tall is the shooter? You can see what everybody's putting. About 6 foot, 6 feet. What do the coordinates say about the basketball hoop?
Yeah.
So you might want to pick out see, like this is like a weak answer. The hoop is far away and taller than him. Oh yeah, but it's taller than him. But what does the 10 mean? It means yeah, like this person gets it. The hoop is 10 feet tall. See, I don't know what this means. 1910, that it is flat. What does that even mean, right? So you can talk about, like, so James Maxwell knows what he's talking about here, Jordan. So you could pick out a couple that you think are like bad answers and good answers.
Yeah.
I'll let you look through them.
Okay.
and snapshot them.
I'm do number 27 also.
Everybody said about the same for that one, so. Or 28, everybody said about 6 foot, so whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need to say anything there, but I'd pick out 1 or 2 good ones, and 1 or 2 bad ones. Or maybe just one good one and 1 bad one.
Is that this one? So this one would be an off. It's 10 feet tall.
Yep, that's a good one. Did you take a bad one?
I haven't yet. What's it? Just like this one.
Yeah, you didn't write anything. Because the question says, what are the coordinates of the basketball? What does it say about it?
Yeah.
I'm like, take that. That's a bad one. It's not yeah. Okay. So now go to snapshots. Drag those 2 into a new collection. So now you have 2 different snapshots that you can show them. You can show them this one and talk about it. You can show them this one and talk about it. So you just hit present. You want to do it.
Okay.
So where is everybody at?
Fun fact.
Like wrong way.
Yeah. So it looks like almost everybody is right there. Okay, so you could do a snapshot here too. What does that equation mean? So it should be when it's 10.76 away from him, it reaches 14.
Yep.
So
There's people I forgot.
where it reaches its highest. I don't like when you say highest point on the x-axis because high is this way.
Yeah.
So see if somebody peek at the ball. It's the highest point on the graph. I'm wondering if somebody can say it reaches its highest point at a horizontal distance of this. I don't know if anybody's going to say that.
You don't skip classes?
Point where the ball master. That's a pretty good one right there. Okay. See what that is.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, because like
No, okay, that doesn't surprise me.
Bad one.
So okay, you can probably bring them together.
Highest point of ball reaches. So use that one or no? Sure. That's a bad one.
And it's fine, but so the 14.8 is the highest point.
Yeah.
But what about the 10.76? I'd say that's half. It describes half of the situation, but not the full situation. So you can drag that in. So it looks like everybody's done, but you can pause it and then hit present, and then present, and then present, and do all 3 of them.
Okay. I hit my one
You might want to pause it first to shut them down.
Okay. Just gonna look at a couple things here real quick. So the first thing here, so these are some of the results. So does anyone know what's going on with these 2 graphs here? So this side is kind of showing what the results were before, like when you just made the predictions versus after you made the predictions. So one side here is good because after they had the parabolas, their answers were all right and your guesses were kind of whatever. But this person over here actually got worse with the parabolas. So that's probably not a good thing.
Of the 2, which one do you think was more popular amongst the 21 of you? The one on the right was more. Most of you, your second green dot was higher than your first green dot, meaning the math helped you. But if your guesses were better than your math, then that was a little bit backwards. And there was 1 or 2 of you that happened to. So
Yeah.
either you're a good guesser or you didn't do the math right, or a little combination of both.
And then here was another one. So I think the question was, what do the coordinates mean? Like how high it was. So this person right here had a pretty good answer here. So it went into depth about it. And then the person on the right, not so much. They didn't even talk about what the 20 meant. So that's how far away you were. And then the other one we had was they gave you a function and asked you what they represented. And this person here went to a lot more depth, so they talked about the 10.76 and the 14.8 in the air. And this person, yet again, just did half, said the highest point the ball reaches. Didn't talk about the midpoint or anything. Does that make sense? So I think, is that pretty much all for this one? Or
Yeah, any comments or questions as you went through that? I want to know, out of the original 7, when you guessed, who, I think we already saw this, nobody guessed 7 out of 7, did they? 6? You got 6 out of 7 when you were guessing? Good. 5? 4? After you did the predictions and or you got to use the math to help you, 7 out of 7, anybody? There was at least one of you, the one that we showed up top, I thought there. 6 out of 7? 6? Comments or questions on that?
okay.
Orin's going to run through a little GeoGebra work with you here now, so go ahead and open one up for you.
Yeah, if you just want to open up your GeoGebra account. So we're just going to talk about general versus standard form. So
Make your font size like 28 options font size.
28 points.
Yeah.
So we're just going to compare general form and standard form. Does anyone know what general form is? So that's just ax squared plus bx squared plus c. And then standard form is more when you can graph it. So we're just going to show the differences here. Power of 2. Sliders.
So go ahead and just type into your input bar ax squared plus bx plus c. And your computer doesn't know what a, b, and c are. So it's going to ask you, do you want to create sliders for a, b, and c? And then you can just say yes. And then your screen will look just like Orin's.
So yeah, kind of the goofy thing with this form is you honestly can't really graph it at all. The only thing it's good for is solving for your x-axis and y-axis. Because if you slide it along here, like some of your sliders, like your A and your B, like I'm not even sure what some of the stuff is doing, to be honest. Yeah, like you graph negative 0.2x squared plus 2x minus, what is this here? 0.7, I'd have no idea where to even start. So moves it up and down. It's got
And you can probably open
no, okay.
open a brand new one.
Yep.
Just like me.
I'll throw some ham. I'm always down for some fisting though. What do we put the sliders in?
I'd have BAH. Oh, sorry, that's an ASP2.
Yeah.
There we go. B's are no. How come B would
B
be
times. Do a time sign.
Okay.
Get rid of the y equals. Just do a function.
Bro, TikTok's not live now. It's funny.
I don't know what's going on. It's weird. The font size bigger fast.
Last time I did it was fun.
B times A times.
Maybe that has to be closed. Yeah, I think it does. I think the X plus H has to be closed.
Well, let's not even deal with let's just because that's redundant. And we want X minus.
I guarantee you, I sat on the
Okay.
couch and laughed for like 45 minutes.
I don't. Did you? What did you do here?
And like I started showing up the phone.
Because they should be asking
So
us
they started
for
laughing,
sliders,
which made
yeah.
me laugh more.
I don't know what's going on.
I'd say there was a good 2-hour period.
I just typed in. I just opened up a new GeoGebra. Like I said, it worked for me when I did it yesterday.
Yeah, something's wrong.
That's my word, bro. They used to talk to me. I was like, okay, fine, I'll respond politely. And then he's like, it's in like one of the very first
I know. I could know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weird.
Okay, so you can. Maybe you do have to do. I don't know why there's a slider for H and K, but not for K. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I could have swore when I did it, I did y equals or f of x equals.
You can do f of x equals, but why did our A slider not come up?
Yeah.
No, redo it.
So you might just have to make the sliders individually
No.
and then graph it.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Do
Okay,
that.
so the idea there was
Yeah.
just to play around with the general form of a quadratic, and we're going to make another one that you've actually already done before. And we did it way back in section 2.5 when we were doing the transformations. Remember when we started out with the x squared, which is the parent function? And then we learned how to make it wider and skinnier, up, down, left, right. You guys remember that form in the letters that we used? I believe we used this form right here. F of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So go ahead and make yourself a sliders like Oren did there. One called A, one called H, and one called K. And then you can type this formula into your input bar. And you can feel the difference between sliding those sliders versus the sliders you were doing 5 minutes ago. Still the same shape. It's a little more intuitive what the letters actually do. Make that window a little bit bigger so we can see it. For sure. You should get one like what Oren has on the screen right now, where he can now adjust the A, the H, and the K. And then you can manipulate the shape of the graph.
Yeah, go. I don't know why that line is doing that too. Click on the slider and just the random slider. Random slider. No, slider. And click somewhere and just make one called A. Okay. I don't know why it did that. Just it'll go. And now yeah, now it should work. So it entered there. I don't know what mine did that too. I couldn't figure it out.
For some reason, it won't default a slider for A. A lot of you are getting an H and K slider. You have to like go in and make your A slider all by on your own. You got to use the slider button. A. This one right here. Make yourself a slider called A. Did yours pop up
I
automatically?
just turned mine back on because I had kept everything from previous years.
If you had a different. Oh yeah, you just redid the same. Yeah, that's fine.
Got it figured out.
That's it? Yeah.
So as you're playing with this, try to make the shape of a basketball shot. What was the guy? He was letting it go from about 6 feet, went about 15 feet in the air, traveled about 20 feet for a three-pointer. See if you can manipulate the graph and
If you
make
type
it into like a
from mine,
basketball
sorry,
shot.
if you put f of x equals, that's what worked for me. Then type in your graph, so it should be A inside the brackets, so like it's A minus H to the power of 2. and then minus k, and then enter. And yeah, create sliders. Huh, that's weird. That worked for me.
Mine's a straight line. Oh. Maybe you gotta move like.
That's weird because yours isn't even an x, right? It's like the 1.1. Oh, switch that 8 to x. There you go.
For me, you have switched the A to X.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we just got it. Yeah.
And then X minus 8 or K at H?
Yeah, h to the power of 2
My A doesn't even do anything.
plus k. There we go. Right on.
Does your A do something?
There you go. There you go.
That's because.
So it should look like this. You should have your A, your H, and your K.
Yeah.
Orange's going to run you through what A does, what H does, and what K does.
So what your A is going to do is it's going to affect how wide your graph is. So it kind of goes up and down like that. So when you just have a regular graph, it's just one, right? So the way, if you graph it on paper, it's one up, one across. So you go one to the left, one here. That's what that one is. Same thing if it was 2, it would be 2 up. So let's see if we can do that. 2, but 2.1. See how it's kind of 2 up there from the axis there? So that's what A does. K is just going to slide it back and forth here. Or up and down, sorry. And then your H is going to go side to side. So at least on this one, in this form, you know what your A, your K, and your H does versus like over here. Like, who really knows what's going on right here? I know I don't. Is that pretty much good for this one?
Yeah, that was just so you can get the feel of what's going on. Because when you guys were doing it with the basketball, you were just dragging dots, right? I could give you the exact same basketball activity and have you use the A, the H, and the K, and you could still shape it to follow the basketballs. And you're going to get, it's not a basketball activity, but the next Desmos is going to have you working with those so that you can get the graph to go through the dots. So I think we only got 5 minutes left, so Oren will show you where that other Desmos is. You don't need to save any of this. This was just playtime. You can save it if you want.
Yeah. And then there's 5.2 will be your next Desmos activity. So you can do that on Blackboard there. Nope, sorry.
Hit the D right there. That'll take you to the home page. Okay, you're good.
History. And then, yeah, match my parabola.
Yeah, match my parabola, and that's the one we want you to finish for next time. Now, maybe you'll finish it before you go home today.
Okay, there we go. There you go. They have the code already, though, right? Yep. Okay. Yep.
So how many steps are in this one?
Wow, self-activity.
This is my voice.
Mine just shows up with no.
I feel like Jack is famous. I want to. I just have to figure out
15?
just be like, stuff you hear in my math class. You say than you.
Yep, because I did it like the first time I put it on, like scroll through my phone.
So the main difference now, when you have your GeoGebra and you have your A and your H and your K, you just get to slide them and you get to watch it move. This is the exact same thing, except you're not sliding anything. You actually got to type in what value of A is going to make this happen, what value of H is going to make this happen, what value of K is going to make it happen. So make sure you use your parentheses appropriately if you need your parentheses. Like I can tell this person,
Why would I give him $30?
which is not anonymous, so we'll just talk about Alex while he's up here. Do you guys agree with this blue one?
No.
Why not?
I do.
Well, actually, I don't even.
If I start with the red one and I'm trying to make that blue one, don't I just slide it 3 units up? I think he knows exactly what he's doing. What about the orange one? Let's jump to the orange. Go ahead, Alex. What do you think you're going to put there?
Y equals x minus 3.
X squared minus 3, right? So the blue one and the orange one aren't too bad. Then you got to figure out the green and the purple. For the blue and the orange, you had to do the K. What letter are you going to do for the purple and the green? Not the K. The H. Yep. And then eventually they'll get tougher where you'll have to do a combination of H and K and A. And maybe you got to type in values for all 3 of them. But that'll be as you get further along in the activity. So you guys just go ahead and work on that. When you come back on Wednesday, we'll have a few more activities for you. If you haven't figured this out yet, we spent the whole last week and whatnot on straight lines, linear. Everything was mx plus b. So what do you think we're going to spend this week on? Quadratics. Instead of x being to the first degree, x to the second degree, which makes a parabola, quadratic functions. So stick around as long as you want. Have that ready for Wednesday. If you want to ask some questions or whatnot, you can.
Okay, so I guess you can say I will be on the
That's going to be
Jack, wait up.
Wait, we're not even messing with A yet, so you can just go that.
I want to brawl.
So